I would like to invite Alex Chacon and Alex Tienda on the stage with the moderator Afshan Avcı again.
Hi, how are you? Hi.
Ahí somos nosotros, ahí está toda la gente, hello. Y pues bueno, mira, ya toda la gente está emocionada porque están en vivo en YouTube, los están viendo aquí en Latin America. Hi, we're live actually, they're watching, not many people because everyone's sleeping in Latin America, but they're watching live, some of them.
What's the time?
Time in Latin America, it's
6 a.m.?
6 and 4 a.m. depends
6
on
or 4 a.m.
2 time zones. Yeah.
Are they watching right now?
I'm sorry. Yeah, they're watching actually. There's like, I don't have the amount of people right now, but it's like, there's people watching.
There's enough.
There's enough people watching, right?
Okay, so we have two Alexes here.
So I am Alex Chacon.
Alex Tienda. We
Should we introduce ourselves a little bit?
Yeah, that was what I was going to say.
My name is Alex Tienda. I am a travel blogger and YouTuber. I've been creating travel content for almost 12 years now. I opened my YouTube channel 11 years ago. It was actually less than a year after YouTube opened. And then I started creating content, and then I started doing travel content because first of contests, there were contests, brands creating contests all over Mexico. Because back then, it's when the brands started realizing that traditional media was not the only option, and then they started turning towards the internet. So they used to make a contest for, say, like, make a creative video, a 1-minute video, and the most creative will win a trip or whatever. So that's when I won a free year of flights, unlimited flights with an airline. I made more than 250 flights, so that's when I started creating more content. And also, I started to be a pilot, so that's also one thing that made me be in love with traveling.
So my name is Alex Chacon. People know me as the Modern Motorcycle Diaries. 5 years ago, I quit medical school. I sold everything I had, and I took a motorcycle from Alaska to Argentina and back in 500 days. I then started to make videos, blogging, and some of them went viral. I then had a really great viral video. You can search it on YouTube called the 3-Year Epic Selfie, which basically created my travel career for what I do now.
So do you still in the medical business, or?
Let's just say that I've been able to, the reason I got into medicine was to be able to change people's lives, influence, make a change in the world, and I realized I could do that with what I'm doing now in a far more profound way than I think I ever could have as a doctor.
Cool. Well, the video we will be talking about today, and I asked to other influencers in the morning, and all of them were replying, saying that video is so important and it will keep going being important.
Yeah.
What do you think about this? I mean, you obviously realized it 11 years ago. Open your account. What do you think about it? That the importance of the video, its increase of share in our content that we consume?
Well, on one part, it's been shown that every time it's becoming more important because that's the way people are starting to consume the internet now. So someone said earlier today that when someone is traveling, they start doing their research on the internet, but it's becoming more and more often that people prefer, instead of going through a lot of pages and reading a lot of stuff, they prefer to go and watch someone living an experience at a destination that they might be interested in, or at a hotel, or whatever the thing that they're interested in. And the video gives you that. They say that an image is worth more than 1,000 words. So then, like, in a video, you have 30 images per second, so that's it's a lot of words. So that's a good way. That's in one part. And the other one is, I forget the point of what the other one was, but.
So yeah, I mean, definitely the way. By the way, how many influencers do we have here? Who here is an influencer? Can you raise your hand? Excellent. And how many brands do we have? Raise your hand.
Wow.
That's quite a bit. So, as you guys know, the industry is very volatile. So, sometimes social platforms close off, new avenues open up. So, video has always kind of been there, but for the past 2 or 3 years, as I mentioned, is what brands are doing. And if you're not doing video, you're being left behind. So, it's very, very important at this point, as an influencer and as a brand, to start or continue.
And I just remember the other point, and it's very important. I think as an influencer, like anyone nowadays can grab a camera or can open a blog and start writing. So it's becoming more easy every day for people to become an influencer, and especially nowadays, it's some brands know it, some brands don't even have an idea that this happens, and it's really sad because it's hurting the industry. But it's easier for people now that they want to become an influencer just because you get famous or you get rich and you travel the world for free. So it's very easy for them to get access to buying followers or buying likes or retweets or whatever it is. And nowadays it's very common for you to see influencers that have, let's say, 200,000 followers on Twitter, but then their tweets only get like 10 likes or stuff like that. So that's when you know that someone is not being very honest about it. And that obviously hurts the industry because when a brand comes and hires them, they don't necessarily get the expected results they would get from a person who has 200,000 subscribers. So that's when video comes in very handy on the competition of being an influencer. For everyone who's an influencer, you know that you have to have something that puts you above the rest of the I don't know how to say it in
Audience?
yeah, like you have to stand out from the rest in some way. So if you have a camera nowadays, which is very easy to get a drone and get impressive video footage of flying over the islands or whatever it is, and anyone can do that now. So how do you stand out from the rest? You have to put something else. So if you have a written blog and you also take great photography, that puts you above of everyone else that just does writing. And if you also incorporate learning how to create video, but compelling video, not just going with your cell phone and recording your vacations, because everyone does that in an amateur level probably. But if you do something that really is compelling to an audience, that's going to put you a little bit further with the competition.
That was one of my questions, the differentiation of the content and the account as well. But before that, you told that now everyone can take a camera or with smartphone and then start to shoot some videos and be a vlogger, right? But it's not that easy as it looks, right? I mean, at least for me, I mean, I'm sure that I'm not gonna get that much view if I shoot that video. There should be, I think, a path, right?
Yeah, I don't know what was your experience with that.
Yeah, I think nowadays it doesn't matter what camera you have. It's just about the story. We've seen, this is about YouTube. So how does the brand, find that intermediate point from the brand perspective in the influencers, in the YouTube itself, and how do the influencers find themselves? Because the majority of people here are actually bloggers and Instagrammers, if I'm not mistaken. Alex and I happen to be one of the 5 or 6 YouTubers that are here.
We can ask, actually, how many
who
YouTubers?
makes content on YouTube?
So who here is on YouTube? All right. Who here is on Instagram?
Now, you guys, like any influencer, travel influencer, is not gonna let me lie. People who follows us, they think that we're having this amazing lives, that perfect lives, that where you're traveling the world and you're on a constant vacation every day a year. And it's really not the case. There's a lot of work behind everything that we put on our accounts. And with video, it's no different, and it's actually way harder than just. I mean, I'm not saying that writing it doesn't have its skills required, but when you're doing video, you also have to put in mind the editing and the writing skills, which you already have in the other media. But it takes more time. The production time for creating a 3-minute, 5-minute video, it's hours and hours and hours sitting behind your computer, and that's what your audience doesn't see.
So as far as for the Instagrammers, my suggestion for jumping on YouTube, which is probably why you're listening to us, because you're trying to go from that Instagram to that YouTube, because diversifying, I think, is the best way to go on your social media. Because as we know, Vine or something else, things go bust. They no longer work after a while. So being diverse is a very, very big thing. So for the Instagrammers looking to go to YouTube, you have to find a way to engage your audience. And as we know, the story, the organic, the raw, that small little piece of you that is very unique to you is what people love to see. We've gone from Facebook normal stuff postings to blogs to videos to now Snapchat, now Instagram stories, now Facebook stories. As of last month, YouTube has implemented a brand new algorithm, which basically means the searchability, what's being popped up on your feed, et cetera, and they've been very honest about this, and they said that we value daily uploads. So you have to think about when you're going to start your YouTube in that transition as influencers, what are you going to produce that you can produce constantly, that you can produce fast, and that you can produce that's very raw and organic. For brands, this is very difficult because when I have campaigns, the brands sometimes do not understand that there's this transition point, that there's a certain intermedium that doesn't allow you to say as a brand, hey, we need you to say certain things about our product, you need to relay that to your audience. And you say, that's not how this works. How this works is that we are influencers who do what we love to do, that what we're passionate about, and our audience engages in that. And it doesn't need to be the highest production value stuff. A lot of my stuff is really high production value because I like doing that as a hobby. But the core meat of what I do is a lot of organic selfies taking to just drone flying, just really fun, silly things about when I travel. Not specific on the motorcycle, but just travel in general. The motorcycle is a byproduct of what I do. So what brands have to understand with influencers is that it's very difficult to go from a CEO marketing mindset, such as the gentleman from Turkish Airlines. He's doing a great job, by the way. He's done a lot of great stuff with influencers and everybody, so hats off to him. But there's a lot of brands who aren't that diverse and that intelligent in seeing the scope of the market in that connection with an influencer and the market that we represent. So it's very hard to find that with a good brand.
It's a very important point. What should be the perfect or smoothest collaboration between the brand and a YouTuber, a video blogger?
Well, it's very important. Everything that he's mentioning right now, it's very related to something that is very important for both influencers and brands that are present here. We have to understand that influencers are not just someone who's getting a free vacation thanks to the brand, and that the brand is getting the content in exchange for giving them a free vacation. The most important thing is to understand that the influencers are a brand itself. And as a brand itself, we also need to take care of what our voice as a brand is. In many cases, I've been on campaigns where the brand is very concerned on how you say the message, and that they even give you a script on what you have to say and how you need to say it, because they're just concerned on what they need to say, and they're using you as the medium. But they don't understand that yourself, your name, it's also a brand, and your audience is expecting some way of saying things to them. If you don't do it that way, they're gonna know that you're trying to sell them something, and that's when it all fails. And it fails for the audience because they don't get entertaining and compelling content. It fails for you because you as a brand start losing engagement with your audience, and it fails for the brand because in the end they don't give the message in a most effective way.
Yeah. Of course, all mediums has its own barriers, and also, generating content on Instagram or Facebook or blog are also not easy. But still, when it comes to video, I think there's some other barriers as well, because when you work with a brand, there's a production need, which requires a good skill, I guess. So when you compare it with photo shooting or texting, what are the tough sides of creating videos for brands?
I think certainly for us influencers and creators, if you already have an Instagram account, if you already have a Facebook account, it's so much more work to do video. That's why the way, at least how I work, is that video is the main core of what I do. Taking still shots from the video, focusing on video itself, and then if I'm lucky, I'll get nice pictures to post on Facebook, is the way I function. Because video is number one for me. So is it difficult? Yes. I think we would agree that we spend about 70% of our time editing and thinking of concepts and
80.
filming, 80%, some of us
It's a lot
90, and the other percent actually traveling and having fun and enjoying and this normal life. So I think as what we do as influencers is that you have to realize how much are you willing to sacrifice of what you're doing now in order to get what you want. So how much time are you going to spend on focusing on your YouTube account when your Instagram's just fine, you're doing okay? Branching out takes an investment as well as with anything else that we do. On the brand side, you have to realize that this is what we do. So when you offer something for free and you get something for free,
It's not the best result.
That's not very motivational for us. If you were to give me a free trip, I would be like, that's fantastic, I'll do what I can, but I'm not going to spend 80% of my time filming for you, just for that.
And that's something that unfortunately, there's many brands that still don't see it that way, because they feel like, oh yeah, I'm giving you a free trip to the beach for 4 days. And they think that it's as easy as just grabbing your camera and doing some selfies, some videos, and then uploading them. It's like magic, and it's already up there. And it's actually not that way. The most important thing on video is the storytelling. And this is, well, in every media. If there's no storytelling, it's just a bunch of images. And even if they're amazing, you're going to bore your audience. And you have to be very dynamic, especially on YouTube or any platform. The attention span from the audience is really small. So you have to keep them really engaged. And that's given with the storytelling. So that's why there's a lot of time involved in writing and editing. And all that process is something that the brands most of the time don't see. And also the influencers, before starting to do video, they think that, oh yeah, it's as easy as just grabbing the camera, and they start doing it that way. But then they get to the point where they see that it's actually more work than that. And if they're not willing to accept the challenge of working that much more, then that's when it's most probably they're not going to make it within the video industry, I guess.
What do you think about the technological features in terms of video? I mean, we have now 360. You're right now actually doing a live stream.
It's 360 right now, actually.
Really?
Yeah, it has both cameras
yeah.
right here, so people in Facebook. Now Facebook just incorporated like 2 weeks ago the 360 function where you can just pan around.
How these things adding value to video? Because, I mean, I think maybe you might be a little bit lucky when it comes to like blogging or like just shooting a photo. The possibilities are limited. I mean, on blog you have to write something, but when it comes to video, right now you can use 360 camera, and then you can shoot a video with it, and it takes the experience on another level on the audience end.
Yeah, you as an influencer, you have to always try to be on top of the game and try to be on the very next trend that is coming out. 360 video right now, the quality of the video itself, it's terrible. And people complain very much about that because they're used to watching now every time more HD videos on the internet. But the experience itself, it's really, it's what you're trying to give to the audience. At this point, as I said, in Mexico City, it's like 4 a.m. Most of the people are sleeping, but they knew that I was coming to this event. My audience is very excited to see what's going on right here and to see what I'm doing right here to show them in Mexico. So most of them they were expecting they even put their alarms and everything. So they're right now watching us, and the fact that they can pan around and watch the audience and watch us, so it's something that you're giving them as an added value to your audience. And in the end, they really appreciate that, and they know that you're putting an effort to always be on top of the game and giving them the very latest technologies or the very latest trends. Now, Facebook, it's very important to say that Facebook is giving priority to the video content now. If you put a text on Facebook, as we know, Facebook does not promote your content to all of your followers. If 100,000 people are following you, it's just going to show it to 10,000 people. If you put a picture, it's going to show it to 20,000 people. But if you put a video, not a YouTube link because they don't promote those, but if you put a video natively on Facebook, it's going to show it to 15,000 people. So that's when you know that video, it's becoming the next trend in every platform right now. And you have to try to be on top of that.
A last addition to that would be that as a brand, you have to realize that for us to create a video on YouTube does not mean to create a video for Facebook. As influencers, realize that your Instagram video is not going to be your YouTube video, vice versa.
Yeah.
And that's what we face a huge issue with, is that transition between video on YouTube and video on Facebook. Because a video on YouTube that works really well on YouTube is not going to work well on Facebook.
Totally different.
Right, because you might have a 10-minute video on YouTube, but the best one that works best is the 1-minute highlights of that same video on Facebook.
Each platform has its own personality, and every influencer might know it already. Every platform has its own personality, and the same thing that you tweet, you cannot put it on Facebook. It's not going to work. You have to understand how each one works and what is effective on each one.
Now, the best thing about diversifying is that if a brand says, we want nothing but Instagram, you have an Instagram account to do that on. If you say you want something on YouTube, you have something to do that on. And the best thing as a brand is you have to realize that you have to find the right influencer that knows what they're doing in order to be able to post efficiently and effectively in each and every single platform. So before you start working with us influencers, realize, do your research, see what we're doing, and make sure that it fits your brand nicely, because the amount of work that goes into it, again, a free trip is not going to cover the 50 hours it takes for us to create every single piece of content for every platform.
And the equipment, because it's really expensive. Cameron.
So, as the last questions, we run out of time, but I want to ask these questions to you. What's your favorite destinations?
I'm sorry?
Favorite destinations?
That's one of the most common questions. That's
Istanbul!
One of the most typical.
Yeah.
Istanbul, of course. No, it's very hard, because it's like asking someone. I don't have kids, but I guess it's like asking who's your favorite. Each and every one has their own special things. I really love Istanbul. I was very excited to come back. It's my fourth time here. But the history that it has and the service that people from Turkey give you every time you're here, it's like they get very excited from people from outside coming here, so they treat you like a king, so I couldn't complain about that.
For me, it's not about the destination, it's the adventure of getting there.
Cool.
And Turkish Airlines, it's a great adventure. on the right here.
This is also
You have a
included.
meeting with him tomorrow, don't you?
It's until tomorrow, sorry.
You have a meeting?
He's trying to get free flights.
Turkish.
Okay, cool. So thank you so much for being here.
Thank
for
you, and
inviting
thank you
us.
for not sleeping. I know it's just after lunch, and all of you might be.
And also, hi to your
Bye,
audience
bye,
as well.
México, ya nos vamos.